Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, we're going to take a look at some knives on loan from Skookum Danger. These are some amazing Williams designed and Winkler produced knives. They're outrageously cool. We're going to take a look at the EDCs of the week. For me, that's the 6 knives I carried in my front right pocket since last we spoke. And then after that, we're going to talk about your knives and your knife collection. Do they own you? Do your knives own you? And of course, this is something that I think about a lot. It's a play off of the old hello, ground fog. Good to have you here, sir. I clap right back at you, sir. Have a nice day. Good to have you with us. Good evening, Junkie, he says. Hope you're doing well. Will you be affected by a hurricane that's making its way up from Florida? Currently, I do not think so. Today, I was actually exactly in the spot in my locality where I would find out if I was in danger about that. And no, apparently not. So my thoughts are with everyone who is in the way of that horrible storm and is recovering from the last one, frankly. Dave, good to have you with us here. This Old Sword Blade Reviews. Evening, Blade aficionados. Evening, Dave. Dave, man, he's been hitting it hard with the custom fixed blades lately. Just some gorgeous stuff. And then he tricked me the other day saying he was getting this beautiful Miguel Barbudo that we're back and forth about. But he got me there. He surely did. And I was hoping, because I'm like, once the honeymoon's over, send it my way. I'd love to check it out. Will B, how you doing, sir? We have Will B with us. He says, evening, Jim, Bob, ground fog. Have a nice day. This Old Sword Blade Reviews. Hello, one and all. So when your possessions begin to own you, and sometimes maybe it's just a matter of storage. Maybe it's a matter of figuring out how to get some stuff out of sight and therefore out of mind. Therefore, it does not have any sway over you. We will talk about that coming up. Never Enough Knives, 007. Good to have you here. Cheers, fellow junkies. Cheers to you, sir. Byron, how you doing, Byron? Howdy, Bob, Jim, junkies. Love my Thursday Night Knives. Hey, Oz Dave, Hack Day, will be Neck 007. I like that. Especially Oz Dave and Hack Day. That comes out, rolls off the tongue, Byron. You got away with words, sir. Oh, man. And do we have a way with knives? That's totally cheesy. Sorry. I don't know. I had to say that. But I'm just looking around today. I had a little bit of discipline in setting up the table. Not as many knives, though more than I set out to. Izzy Joseph, good to have you here, Izzy, with that beautiful, beautiful dog. Evening all, he says. Chris, how you doing, sir? We have Blade Ogre with us. Sent me a great message. Thank you, sir. Ryan Walker, good to have you here. Cheese kebab. I got you. We had 2 Matts living in the suite near us when I was in school, and one of them, who ended up being my best friend, they called him Cheese because he was just a little bit cheesy. But God love him. Maybe some of that rubbed off on me. James Moore, how you doing? Hello, everyone. He says, "Hello, James. It's great to have you here, sir." The Candyman, double A. Good to have you here, James. Candyman, 00. Not, why am I putting the double? Just 01. Good day, sir. Well, good day to you. Scott N, good to have you here, Scott. Hello, all, he says. Gary Jarosky, hello, everybody. Well, hello to you. I have just to set the focus and get the light, I put this down. But man, is it a fine knife. Manny Z. Hey there, Bob, Jim, everyone. Manny, always a pleasure. Addicted to Knives, hello. Well, hello to you, Addicted to Knives. Are you addicted to, like, what kind of knives? Is it all knives? Like this here Taipan, quad hollow ground double-edged beauty. Man, I love this one. Though the one that came to me first from Amazon, don't buy cold steels from Amazon, was a lemon. Ryan Walker, I have a way with words. Yes, I like that. Cheese kebab. What was I saying? Also, I don't know if you saw this video by Metal Complex, but he had the same issue. He ordered a Taipan from Amazon after wanting one for a long time. Came in, was a bummer. I don't think he returned it for another one. I did, and I got good luck with this one. Perfect grinds. This Old Sword says, it's completely altruistic. I provide a home for wayward blades. Now they have it's a forever home for these beautiful knives. And I think you're right, because these creations are toiled over and, you know, made in some cases Cone's craft kind of in obscurity because they're rare birds. He's not always crafting blades, but when he does, you do have to be there to scoop them up and show them the way. 9198 David says, hello, everyone. Well, hello to you, David. Good to have you here. Dan Mitchell, how you doing, Dan? Good day from Canada. Well, hello, Canada. I gotta say, I watch a great channel on YouTube that's in British Columbia, and it's so beautiful out there. So beautiful. Mm. In any case, every place in Canada I've ever been, never been out to the West, has been stunning. So, hello, Canada. Happy EDC. How you doing, sir? Hola, mi hermanos, he says. That means, hello, my brothers. How you doing on this fine evening? Bob looking sharp per usual. This is my HEA design shirt. I stopped buying excessively a while back. Keep a curated collection, and I love it. So it's mutual. They don't own me. Well, that's good. You don't own me. There, I will stop it there, but it just made me think of that song. But when does it happen for you? I want to know that at some point. But before we get to that, we're gonna have to do a couple of other things. Izzy says that tie pan is so damn good looking. It really is, and the blade is bigger than I thought it would be. I gotta say. I mean, I guess I could have looked at the specs and known it was 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 inches, like a combat classic style, like a K-bar, that kind of thing. But man, it just feels big because it's a broad blade. That's what gives it its slashiness. 9198 David says Thursday night knives and a little scotch. Oh yeah, sir. I concur. I drink scotch when I'm visiting with my dad. He has a nice scotch, and there's always a nice little sip happening. Sit down. We have a late night rant, a quiet rant, late night, and talk politics and sip bourbon. We didn't always see eye to eye. That's for damn sure. You better believe when I was in art school, I had strayed from the path in terms of just how I felt about things. Razorback, morning or night? Good to have you here, Razorback. Set my alarm for this one. Oh my God, I am. Well, then I shouldn't be yelling. If you're just waking up, but I am honored and flattered that you would set your alarm. Pick up the GM. Oh, nice. The Giant Mount Ace Jutland recently. I love the clip point on that knife. Definitely one worth checking out. I just saw someone do who was it? Do a cardboard cut test. It was a short with that knife and did such a beautiful job. Will B says, my knives don't own me. My knife addiction does. Well, there you go. That's getting to the point a little more. More to the point. James says, like your tiny knives episode. Thank you, sir. Here's my personal list. Spyderco Chaparral. That is a nice knife. Sharp by Design Micro Typhoon. That's not the clip point, right? The Typhoon is another. Well, and in any case, I had a micro Sharp by Design here on loan from Hero Sticks a while back, and yeah, like a little jewel machine. The Olamic Busker, one that I hate to look at, but I love to feel in my hand, with a regrind to a thin edge. There you go. A Berger EXK Plus. That one is not jumping to mind. Pena Trapper. Yes, and a Rogers Cinco. I like that. And the Rogers Cinco. I'm not sure which one that is, but I know I love Richard Rogers designs. Anyway, James, this sounds like a humdinger of a list. I think tiny knives are to me, they're more. It's like either big or tiny. They're more appealing than medium. Here's one that I almost made it on the list, but didn't because it's too much like a big knife, and that's the Scorpio. I love this thing, the Scorpio by Orion Knives. Hero Sticks, how you doing, Hero? Evening and cheers, all. Best live of the week. Why, thank you, sir. I do appreciate that. I'm going to take a sip of coffee in your honor. Oh, that's good. I'm trying to. At night, I brew less, but I make it a little bit stronger in terms of flavor. But we all know that dark coffee. I think that equals less caffeine. Texas Longhorn, good to have you here, sir. Marine Corps birthday today. That's right. Happy birthday, Marines. Happy birthday, Marines. That's right. My wife posted about that on Instagram today. For all her, we have a lot of Marine Corps in the family and friends. So yes, happy birthday to you. And what a great quote that uh, Eleanor Roosevelt quote. Jim, can you pull that up? We'll read that here in honor of our U.S. Marines. Eugene Krebs, good to have you here, Eugene. I think I may have missed that last comment. Speaking of my tiny knives, I dug out the mini Osborne that I won from Zach Stuff for today. Oh, cool. That's awesome. I like Zach Stuff. I really like his channel, and that's a case of a channel where I'm not crazy. You know, his knives and my knives are different wheelhouse. We have different tastes and all, but that's another case where you just like the person and you like their assessment of knives, and therefore you watch. It doesn't matter if it's not a knife you have in your collection or choose to get. Eugene Krabs says, hella random, but Hero Sticks videos are hella relaxing for some reason. I like Hero Sticks videos. Brandon Sutton, thank you, sir. That World War II era 1918 trench knife. And you have a kukri. Here's the thing. Yeah, my kukri is over on that wall, and it is a smaller but genuine one from Nepal. But sir, I will give you this. Oh, wait. Or did you mean this kukri? Because I do have this absurdity, which I do adore. My brother gave me this, as he did many of my very cool knives, including this other one I'm going to salute you with. And he's got something for me for Christmas that he cannot wait to give me, which means it's going up there. It's going to be something sweet. And I'm going to get him. I'm pretty sure he's not watching. And so if he is, then he's going to find out what he's going to get, because Have a Knife Day is here, and he has inspired this gift. Actually, my brother always gets me. It's funny how we buy gifts for people that we want. Well, I'm always buying him modern knives, and he loves history, loves World War II, and he's always getting me older knives. And so I know he wants something. I'm going to get him a Mac VSOG. I'm going to try and get it as old as I can from that Only SOG website. So there it is. Cat's out of the bag, Vic. Hope you're not watching. He's sleeping on the couch. I know exactly what he's doing. He's pretending to watch a movie right now. Okay, Brandon Sutton, thank you for mentioning this. Here, I'm going to put this under the knife cam so we can see it up close and show you. Look at this. Oh, man. I love this thing. And it's so cool to know that, it's cool to know that it was carried. I don't know if it was used, but it was issued. And there was a lot of metal that went into making these. That was one of the reasons they got rid of it. Also, the practicality is not there as much as, say, with the M3 that replaced this, which has a like an edge and a half blade, if you will, and a stacked leather handle, neutral handle. You can do a lot. Like this is not something you think of for opening crates. Actually, you probably punch the crate open with these pointy knucks. Yeah. All right. Brandon, I'm sure you know about this, but if you don't, Les George has a really cool project where he works with other knife makers. He casts these 1918 knuckles, this whole hilt here, and then he's had so many a good number of knife makers make their version of dagger blades, like Alan Elishewitz, many others. Who was I just talking to who just did one? But in any case, you should check out Les George's page if you're not looking at it. All right, here's your salute, sir. Thank you so much for that super chat. There it is. Oh my gosh, look at that thing. Devastating, menacing, and probably the coolest knife I own. Hero Stick says, my Tiny's Kaiser Urban Bowie. That's a great design, that Pinkerton. Urban EDC F5.5 Finch Runtley. Oh my good Lord. How did Oh, I had a different Finch. And the Finch 1929 Hinderer half track. Yeah, the 1929 was on my list. Hinderer half track. I love the Runtley. It's great looking. It's a great uh, performer and everything, but the blade is like an axe compared to the scalpeline blade on the 1929. So I had to go with that. Hero Stick said, "Oh, I forgot one. The new Mini J Cape. Holy mackerel! Once I worked the detent a bit, it was strong at first. It's settling in as a new favorite. So is that tiny? Is that sub 3 inches? That's what I consider tiny. The mini J Cape. Those J Capes are so cool. Dan says, just picked up a French military issue coupe coupe. What's a coupe coupe? Is that the little, oh, I'm thinking Duk Duk. Oh, what is a coupe coupe? Brandon Sutton says, I have the SOG Midnight Tiger Shark. Oh, man. Yeah. I slept on the Tiger Shark the whole time. The whole time. I could have gotten the Tiger Shark because I remember when they came out, and I remember when they were discontinued, and I remember when they had the D guard, and I just kept sleeping on the Tiger Shark. Even when they came out initially with a leather sheath. Do you have the leather sheath? In any case, the Seal 2000 and a striped seal pup, all made in Seki, Japan. Very, very nice. I have the Super Bowie, and I keep the Seal pup, an OS 8 version bought at Walmart, not the OS 6. The OS 8 bought at Walmart with the teeth, but I got the Kydex sheath that has been riding in my bag forever. Coupe coupe means cut in French. Oh, coup. So is it coup? It must be coup. That's cool. Cuckoo. I wonder what that looks like. I worked for a French chef who would say cuckoo. Happy Haptics EDC says, like he said, his addiction is buying. Okay. Like he said, his addiction to buying is what controls him. Buying and experiencing new knives, among many things, has become an easy place for pleasurable, neutral activity of all types. In a to TBC, take care of business, TBC. In a nutshell, is easy gratification and comfort. And since humans often have a hard time breaking comfortable habits, we keep chasing and buying more knives. But the real answer is to step outside your comfort zone and try to do new things. Test your capabilities in various ways and appreciate the items you do have. Work on integrating them into your actual life and build a better bond. All things I cannot disagree with, and all things to some extent or in some manner I like to incorporate. However, yeah, the buying and the experiencing the new I get, and if you can keep that flow happening where it's coming in and going out and coming in and going out like an organism or something, then that's fine. When it starts building up and your collection gets constipated, why are we going that route? But you know what I mean? Then you got to do something about it. And I'm going to stop that analogy right there. Dan Mitchell says the Coupe Coupe is a 14-inch blade, very heavy machete. Ooh, I love the sound of that. That sounds cool. I'm going to have to look that up. Hang on, writing it down. Have a Knife Day says, I wish I didn't miss the SOG Tiger Stripe Tech Bowie. Oh, the Tech Bowie. I did like that. Do like that. Though it only came in Kydex, right? I don't think the Tech Bowies came with leather. Mini J Cape is 2.5 inches. Okay, that would work for in my tiny collection. I'll send it along. Oh, nice. In the next box, burlap micarta and black tumbled. Oh, by the way, Hero, yours is on the way. I sent it 2 days ago. I will give you the numbers after this. Also to the two guys who won, if you're watching, who won over the weekend during Knives Live. I also sent them 2 days ago in that same trip to the post office. I have your numbers, or hopefully maybe you have your knives, or very, very soon. Knives and t-shirts and hats, etc. Razorback, Ostap Hills, KIV, and the Wee Quark are worthy tiny knives. Is the Wee Quark the one that is that cool little Warncliffe? I do like that. And Ostap Hell Man, he's got just some cool designs. But I love that little flower one, the push dagger one. Really cool. Addicted to Knives says, I had 500 plus knives, was too many. Best decision was to start selling. Uh, no new money spent on the hobby. I want a new Shiro and some stuff. Some stuff has to go. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about that in a minute, because I wanna dig in fully. But we were talking about constipation. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's weird. That's a cool little knife. We were talking about constipation, and I don't want to get this show constipated. So before we do anything, I got to tell you what I was carrying today. So I think it's time for a pocket check. This was in my front right pocket today, and was this is the Off-Grid Knives Scorpion. This was from the first batch of the Scorpions that they had done by We Knives. Now they have them done by Best Tech, and then they have some of their knives produced by a Taiwanese manufacturer also. And we know how Taiwanese knives are. Anyway, great knife. I only used this for flipping today, and actually, I cut the holy mackerel out of my finger. Still, this was 2 days ago, and it started to heal. And wouldn't you know it, the Band-Aid came off while I was doing dishes, and I didn't realize it. And then I felt the hot water in the deep wound, and realized that that my healing hadn't completely taken. I am no longer the Wolverine I once was. So it's still bleeding. Hurts like hell. But anyway, yeah, I was flipping this thing quite a bit today. This was all, I don't know. It was good for traffic today. Good for traffic. A little pacifier for traffic. That's about it. But I do love this knife. I first got it. I was not impressed with the edge with this knife, which is totally anathema for an off-grid knife, because I rave about their edges and their thin geometry and how great they are. This one was not. Everything about it was excellent, but the edge. So that's all I had to do was do a full pass over the Spyderco Sharpmaker, starting with the diamond stones. That's how I like to do it. Take it through 4 stages: diamond stone, then the gray grit, then the white, and then the white. And it was razor sharp. Do any of you guys have the Off-Grid Knives Scorpion, either in first or second iteration? Let me know. The first iteration was before we all realized that we don't have to put up with round screws, and now they are flat in the V2 of that knife. So I had that on me. For emotional support, I had the Scorpio. Man, Scorpion and Scorpio. Didn't even realize that. That probably would have bothered me if I had realized it. But the Scorpio by Orion Knives, really, really cool knife. And super addictive action, or super fun to play with. This one, I feel like was very smooth when I got it, and then just has gotten real smooth just through flipping it for maybe a week, and just fiddling with it. And these thumb studs just give you such a gratifying flick. So awesome knife is that. Also really thin and sharp as hell. This knife is very sharp and quite slicey. I do love the jimping up on the clip point. I think it looks menacing and adds to the overall cool look of the knife, but it's also useful. There it goes. It's also useful in that David Cam was pointing this out. If you are making a cut into a box and you only want the blade to go so deep, you know how you kind of guide it with your finger like that. Well, here that jimping locks you into your depth, and you get a nice accurate pull cut. Very, very nice, and a full width handle, which is important to me on any small knife. I want a full width handle on almost any small knife. All right. Next, I had the Jack Wolf Knives Cyborg Jack. You've seen a lot of this this past week and a half, mine and others. And I love this one. This one has gotten a lot of Apple action, a lot of fruit going around the office. And I bought a big bag, so I feel obligated to just chow day. That's what I'm doing for snacks these days. And this has been great. I've been doing my very, very best to keep the juice out of the action. And one way I was doing that, I realized was a very stupid way. I could have almost killed myself, but I was putting it down like that so the juice would drain off the blade. And then I realized, you're going to forget about that and lay your wrist on it. But that is the Cyborg Jack. Love that thing. And then, of course, on my belt, I have not taken this out of my waist since I've gotten it. My Hogtooth Ruffian. I love the name too, Ruffian. Just out there, ready to rough and ready. I love that canvas micarta, natural canvas micarta. It's got that caramel look. I don't even know if this is vintage, but it kind of looks vintage. Got to ask him. 154 cm, absolute razor sharp, sharpest knife. One of the sharpest knives I own now is that knife. And man, it just rides beautifully on the hip. So that's what I was carrying today. What did you guys have, and gals? Put it down below. Let's talk about this. I want to know. I know a few of you are more than one knife carry. I would say probably more than a few of you are, greater than one knife carry. Izzy said, "Ooh, that Band-Aid and finger look nasty." Yeah, they are. Yeah, it's a soaker. I mean, it's a. I also find calves and like lower legs bleed a lot. I seem to have cut myself there a bunch. That Band-Aid could ruin Bob's career as a hand model. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, those days are over. those were beautiful times. Addicted to Knives says, I have the Scorpion. So Addicted to Knives, is yours the Wii, do you know? Or from the first batch, does it have the button screws and this basket weave carbon fiber? That's the Wii made one. And they made a couple other changes, but then the best tech, they flattened out. Ryan says, the only thing that will own me is my future wife. I'll own her. Yeah, you own each other. You own each other. That's the beauty part. Dave says, I have the Scorpion 2nd edition off-grid. Love the quality. That's right. And yours has that sort of swirling brown carbon fiber, right? If I'm correct. Hey, Shane, how's it going? Be up. Hello, gang. Hello, Bob and Jim. Hello. It's good to have you. What's hashtag be up? I like it. It seems like be up, like be happy. I like that. Gorilla, how you doing, Gorilla? Good to see you here. Only off grid I have is the Grizzly, and it's badass. I agree with you, Gorilla. I love that knife. We take that to we go to this place in the mountains, or people on the West Coast don't call them mountains, but in our Western Virginia, and we go to this place. We always bring the Grizzly. To me, I'm like, hey, if we that is our kitchen knife, because the place we stay, they give you old Ginsus, that kind of thing. So I'm with you. That's a great knife, and I think it would flex really well into camp stuff. Love that Scorpio, says Hero Sticks. Yes, such a great knife. And it's got a cool look, and it's something about the shape of the handle reminds me a little bit of the Elite, of the SOCOM Elite. Shane says, Blade Banter designs are very end-user friendly knives. No nonsense, yet great refinement. I agree. That's actually really well said. And I like the way he creates them so that you can add accents. So far with the Scorpio, I think you can buy them only in, not only, but you buy them in certain iterations. And then with the Solaris, you buy it in certain iterations and also can get a whole bunch of stuff to customize, which is cool. Gorilla says, juice blade drain is an issue. Juice blade drain. Juice blade drain is an issue. What does that mean? Juice. All right. You know what, Gorilla? It's late for me, but it'll come to me. Juice blade drain is an issue. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Sorry. Jim's like, you're Apple, dumbass. Okay. Yes, you're right. Juice blade drain is an issue because you don't want to be absent-minded about it and be like, oh, plus you don't want to be too folksy with the Apple and the though I do always have to do the initial cut with one, because these two teeth are fake, and I'm terrified of I was left high and dry once with my teeth falling out, and I don't ever want that to happen again. So I always do the initial cut, but it, the, the guy with the knife thing and the apple, it wouldn't play in my office very well for too long. So you don't want to be absentmindedly holding it like this and get the, yeah, thank you. Sorry, slow. Izzy says, I know it's probably blasphemous to say this here, but only those Jack Wolf knives were flat. If only those were flat ground. Hollow ground is not a go for me. No, I get it. I get it. On certain, you don't see hollow ground blades that much in the slip joint world. You see them a little bit in case knives. You see it actually quite a bit in case knives. But well, I hear you. It is what it is. You like it or you don't like it. What I'm trying to remember is GEC. They're all flat ground and they're beautifully done. Actually, most slip joints are. Anyway, I'm sorry. Dave says today's carry a triumvirate of classics: the Reich Lamella, or is that Lamea? Max Ace Corvus 3 in M390. No doubt cool because Max Ace is cool. And zirconium scales. Oh, that's the one you recently got. And the Microtech SOCOM Bravo clip point. Oh my God. So what's that Reich? Oh, I know. That's kind of an upswepty kind of Persian one, I think. Wow, that is quite a triumvirate. Nicely done, sir. Nicely done. Carrying the American Blade Works. This is Blade Ogre carrying the American Blade Works Model 1 version 6, the Tempest Pinion. Yes, very nice. The ZT0640 Emerson, very nice. The GEC 29 Stockyard Whittler, the American Service Knife, the Benchmade Mini Freak in S90V, the Burgundy Micarta Adamas, which I covet, the Mech Force Blue Phantom. Thank you. By the way, Chris sent me a rundown on that. And the Heretic Slay. Okay, so that's 9 knives. So this has become regular because it used to be 8 was regular, and the last 3 times, well, this being the third, it's been 9. And once is a fluke, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern, sir. You are a 9 knife carrier now. But I'm with you, and I support you. I'm all for it. Shane says, I've owned 3 off-grid knives. No complaints with any of them. They are great work knives. Great work knives. David Clark Custom Banto and Spyderco Manix S110V. David Clark Custom Banto. I don't know what that is. Custom Banto. That sounds good. Banto. What is that? Something in Tanto. Banto. What is the B? Barong in Tanto. Hero Stick says, carried the I Mamba in blue kudu bone. That just sounds cool. Again, and my Taylor's Eye Witness slip joint from England. Those are cool. A little classier today than usual. Classy. I like it. Wait. I'm sorry, Jim. Can you go back? I just wanted to say the I Mamba. Oh. I know what you're talking about. Yes. In the blue kudu bone. That I Mamba is beautiful. I love the profile of that and the little divot and everything. That is beautiful. Gorilla says, small and cozy, Swiss Army knife, A-Lox Cadet. I miss mine. And a mini champ. Excuse me. Small and cozy. Those and cozies. Chris Reeve knives, they really, really are awesome. If anyone out there is shaking your head thinking, yeah, I'm so tired of hearing about Chris Reeve, they really are outstanding. Cold Steel, Addicted to Knives. Cold Steel G10 large Espada. Yes, I had the XL in my bag today with the G10. The Wee Banter, nice. And with the Space Kitty scales and the Brandon Park Wasp. Very nice. Addicted to Knives. Very nice spread there. That is a really nice spectrum of knives there. I like that. In terms of size, use, design. 9198 David carried my Spyderco Nirvana. That's beautiful. That's a Resenti. Everything that guy designs is beautiful to me. The CRK small Sabenza 21 today. Very nice carry. And I didn't realize I have the second generation off-grid Scorpion. Nice. Oh, cool, 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 cool. Yeah, so that's the best tech produced with the flat screws. Look at that swedge. This thing. I love this thing. And it almost feels like a Coke bottle handle with the way it swells up here because it doesn't have that milling. It's awesome. I'm sorry, Jim. Can you put that back up? I was just falling in love all over again. Have a Knife Day says VEF serration K-bar leather stacked handle and a cold steel Voyager crisp blade. Okay, awesome. Awesome on both accounts, but I love this. You have a VEF serrated K-bar. That sounds really awesome. Now, I'm wondering, did Mr. VEF do it, or did you do it, or did you buy it that way? Brandon says, today the Almar Orca. I don't know which one the Orca is, but I want an old school Almar or an Almar Eagle 4-inch with the bolsters and all of that. Brandon, hats off to you. I like that one. Though I don't know what the Orca is. But Almar, the old Almar is cool stuff. Addicted to Knives says, yes, my Scorpion is the Wii version. Here, sir. Here. Let me show you this cool knife. This is the Max Ace Balance K. Our good friend Dave, This Old Sword Blade Reviews, donated this to our channel to give away. So this is going to be the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway knife next week. We're doing this for the Gentleman Junkies. If you like to join us on Patreon and be in the running for that, of course, you can go to TheKnifeJunkie.com/Patreon. But here, this knife is, man, this has got to be a serious performer. It's got nice thin blade stock and fully flat ground. It is like wicked thin behind the edge. Beautiful shape, by the way, too. I'm not much of a drop point does not often get me jazzed, though I just did a whole show on ones that do. But I don't know, on paper I'd say, oh yeah, but I don't know, something about this blade is absolutely stunning. It reminds me a little bit of a Shure Goroff, actually, in the shape of it. Awesome flipper tab that is oriented in the proper way with that slant right there. And then when it opens, I like the aggressive forward sort of posturing of the flipper. That's strictly aesthetic. I think it looks great, but it also leaves you with this nice big sharpening choil. And then you have a really nicely sculpted G10 handle that is contoured very nicely. And then if you look inside, you'll see nice thick liners, really excellent lockup, and skeletonization. This thing is really cool. And like most Max Ace knives, as you could see from Dave's description from his Corvus, I think he was saying he was carrying, they make them in G10 and K110 versions. Like this K110 is analogous to D2, or an M390 with titanium, and they really kind of go the extra mile with extra decorations on the fancy knife. So I like that. If you like a profile of a knife, but you don't want to spend all that money, you can get this version of it. Or if you like the super expensive, version, you can go for that. So anyway, that's what we're doing next week for the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway. That is the Max Ace Balance K in K110. Okay. So, Shane says, was Jason Brown's tag or slap? I think they called it. He was a okay. He was a graffiti artist. Be up. Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you mentioned that. And I forgot. Good evening, Bob, says Hungry Bird. Hungry Bird, good to have you here, sir. Jim, Junkies, I really like the Orion Solaris with the carbon fiber scales. Yeah, it's like a raindrop pattern. It's one of my favorite knives. Or flip with no bounce and sweet smooth button. That's cool. That is cool. I love it. Happy Haptic says, I think the next knife I'll look to get is going to be the new Elvia coming out. Oh, yes. That's a nice one from Turner CNC. Man, that second, I think the second one looks even better than the first one. The first one is very cool. I've only handled one at Blade Show. Felt great. But I love the look of the new one with the more slender, more forward-reaching talon blade. Ket McNessar, good to have you here, sir. Today I carried the Buck 110 Slim Pro, the LT Wright Jessmuk C, very nice. Sheep's Foot ORJ, and Spyderco Delica in crew wear, courtesy of Northcote. Ooh, nice. My very first Spyderco. Wow. That's awesome, Ketmuk. Well, congratulations. Or that's a weird thing to say about what do you think of Spyderco? Actually, is probably the thing to say. So I have an update on this Black Mule Bowie. Surprise, surprise. Never Enough Knives 007 says, today was the Cold Steel Formax Scout. Great knife. The Civivi Tamashi E. That's that fixed blade, right? By Bob Terzuola, I think. The Swiss Army Knife Huntsman, the Formax, was delivered on Saturday during a Thursday Night Knives segment on Knives Live, or the Knife Junkie segment on Knives Live. Perfect timing. That's awesome. Never Enough Knives. That's how it should be, right? Get your favorite knives delivered while you're listening to Knives Live. Got this Black Mule Bowie I was showing you, the $25 Rough Rider 3CR knife. And it's still awesome, except the handle is loose. Listen, you might not be able to hear. You know what? You can see it right here. See that? It's loosened up a little bit. The good news is I was watching a channel, Pistol Pete, and he opened his up, and it is full tang. It does have a stick tang that comes all the way down and has these 3 holes. And has 3 holes. So what I think I'm going to do is take this handle off, cut the tang so just to these 2 holes, and try my hand at making a guard and fitting either doing a stag handle or a wood handle. And I think it'll be a fun project, and I think I can do it, and I think it'll turn out fine, and it'll be a good way to practice with a blade that is $25, and that's all good. But okay, someone tell me this: anyone out there who knows about antlers and hunting and or making knives with stag? So I'd like to, when you go to the pet store and they sell antlers, that your dog chews on. I mean, our dog chews on antlers all the time. Can you take those antlers, like if you find a big enough one, and just use it for a knife handle, or do you need something else? Do you need a treated antler? I mean, I guess. So if anyone out there has done anything like that, let me know, because I'm going to attempt something, and if it's, I don't know, I guess I'd like to try to make sort of a version of the Inglorious Bastards knife, because it's got the same blade, and I would like a stag handle. I don't know. I'm just going to try it. So I'll let you know. But if anyone has any thoughts on the whole going to the pet store and buying a cheap antler from there, is it the same, or is that the antler that they send to pet stores for dogs to chew on and not worth it? Gorilla says 007, the Formax Scout is possibly the best cold steel in the history of not warm steels. Nice. Excellent. Yeah, we all have our favorites. There are so many cold steels, and I have so many of them, and I love them all so dearly. But yeah, that Formax Scout is dope. Shane says, I'd love to purchase a Formax Scout secondhand if anyone has one for sale. Excellent. Oh, you know what? Well, I will keep my eyes peeled, Shane. I'm always keeping my eyes peeled for cold steels. And since I have one, when I see one, I will get you one. Or send you the notice. Happy Haptic EDC. I think I just showed my hand. Happy Haptic EDC 1-2 carry of my wait. Had a classic 1-2. Okay, I got you jabbed cross. Had a classic 1-2 of my Norseman and Pika solid duo. Nothing new here except for a bonehead SFK from, okay, wait. Oh, that's from Workerman EDC with glowing eyes. But what's an SFK? Is this a nothing new here except for a bonehead SFK? Is that some sort of a pry tool? Sorry, writing something down. When you get to be my age, you have to write everything down on napkins that you then put your coffee on and then throw away. Never Enough Knives 007 says, I used the off-grid grizzly paired with the artisan sea snake as travel kitchen knives. Great pair. That is a great pair. You got that sea snake for pairing and that kind of thing. I think that's awesome. Heroes says, Bob, checked out the Station 9. Gotta have the tire slasher and the Scorpion and maybe that big partisan fixie. I'm with you on that. I want to get the Scorpion. The tire slasher looks cool, and especially considering I lost my Bastinelli diagnostic, this would scratch that itch. But I do like that big partisan, the blade, because it looks like a French chef's knife turned resistance fighting knife, which is cool as hell, I think. Will B said, I had a Grimsmo Norseman, so 2 Norsemen in a row. That means I had a Grimsmo Norseman Benchmade 950 Rift. In my opinion, the best of the 3. Of the big 3 Osbornes, that being the 940, the 950, and then the Contigo. I loved the Contigo, little over jimped and not crazy about the double finger groove, but such an awesome blade on that knife. And then the 940, you know how I feel about the 940, but the 950, which I've never owned, to me always looked best. So we know that it must be the best if it looks the best, because you should judge a book by its cover. Migaron Valona. That's a beautiful knife. We have one of those for giveaway sometime in the future. Civivi Chevalier. The Kaiser Mini Sheepdog. The Spyderco Ronin 2 cross draw. Great knife. Does that mean cross draw also like you have it scout on the front? Or do you have it like cross draw tilt in the waistband on the other side? I'm curious what you mean by that exactly. The Olight Baton 3, the i5T Plus, the Streamlight Macro Stream, and the Karis Bolt V2. Gotta get myself a bolt knife. I mean, a bolt pen. I just gotta. The Karis Bolt. I was thinking of getting a tactile bolt pen, but I have to check out this, see what this Karis is. Kyle Vin the CV. Good to have you here, Kyle Vin the CV. I'm weirdly into my chef's knives. That's not weird. You probably use them more than any other knife. Keeping them sharpened and honed is my zen. I hear that. But I never understood the fascination with other types of knives. Are they for collecting or for actual use? Genuinely curious. All right. So I'm not going to speak for everyone. If I were to speak for everyone, I think everyone mostly would say, I like collecting users. Because a lot of people, I'm not going to say what a lot of people think. I would say that because I wouldn't like you to know how materialistic I am about and how ridiculous my collection is, and how it is for the mere appreciation of them. In a lot of cases, I have of 100% of my knives, I carry and use, less than 10% of them, or 10% of them on a regular basis. And then others that but I have a structure of justification built for owning these. This podcast is part of it. And I've always loved them. So it's, for me, Kyle, it is a collection thing. It is like all of these old swords here that a number of them have been used in various conflicts. And I like owning those for their history. And I've trained in the martial arts that the Filipino ones were used for. And then others like this are handy and fidgety. And once you have it in your pocket, you find all these uses for it. It's a great thing to have. So for me, it runs the gamut from genuine pocket tool that I would feel naked without. Um, Straight through to collectible that is just there for the mere appreciation, kind of like your Zen of stropping your kitchen knives or sharpening your kitchen knife, keeping them honed. It's similar thing. All of my daggers, which I never, I'm never going out and getting in knife fights, but man, they are all beautifully honed. So, kind of the same thing, except that the kitchen knives get used and used on a daily basis. But maybe you should think about collecting kitchen knives. There are so many great kitchen knife makers out there. Dissentient, well, thank you for the question. Dissentient 101, good to have you here, sir. What was it? What was it, Dissentient? What did you just got some knife coming towards you. I can't remember what it was now. Thank you again for that. Oh, jeez. Thank you again for that CRKT, Cool Ruger collectible. You're welcome. Gee, I wonder what I sent you. Hero Stick says, love the backstory that the tire slasher and the number 4 you were actually carrying were carried by the special operations executive in World War II, the secret British organization committed to espionage, sabotage, and recon. Yeah, this is the number 4. I love this little thing, this little lapel dagger. So these lapel daggers, my brother and I used to pour over this little weapons, not little, big weapons book. I've shown it here before when we were kids. And one of the things we both loved were these little lapel knives and little covert spy weapons, like the lipstick with the gun in it or whatever, that kind of thing. Though I wouldn't carry the lipstick one, just in case you were wondering. But because that would look funny. These do incredible, just with the little row of jimping you've got there, and with the little lanyard. I went to town on that watermelon I was telling you about, and in a last ditch effort to save your life, something like this could be very valuable, sewn into the lapel or sewn into your pants pockets so no one can see it, but it's there. Have a Knife Day says, Mr. Veff installed by hand. Very nice. Very nice. Mr. Veff and his flex shaft. James Moore says, today carrying the carrying the Thorburn L55 front flipper. The Shirogorov Custom Division Quantum Bronze. That's nice. And the Overready Boss flashlight. That Shirogorov, that is, though the Thorburn is a thing of beauty and you've shown it off many times, I got to say that Shirogorov is, man, is that my speed. Dwayne Letterman, good to have you here, Dwayne. Hey, guys, hope everyone's having a great evening. Well, thank you. I'm having a great evening. I hope you are too, sir. Brandon Sutton says, do VEF serrations work well? They are horrendous. Yes, they work very well. We had, the VEF serrated knife I gave away, we gave away here last week or 2 weeks ago. Man, I only tried it out against paper towel rolls because it wasn't really my knife, but just mangled in a very clean, horrifying way. Hero Stick says, efficient is what I'm getting at. Very efficient. If you like serrations, check out VEF serrations. I like them. I like serrations in general, especially Spyderco. But yeah, the VEF serrations are incredible, and it only really takes 3. Hero says, Bob, have you checked out the new Finch page on their site? Parade of Knives is what they call it. A bunch of new prototypes. I have seen some of them. And I remember seeing a Warncliffe that I liked a lot. I think it's, they are just coming out. I cannot keep up with Finch knives. And not that I entirely want to. I never intended to get all of their knives, but they are reminding me of when we first started, and we was just like, man, they just had so many knives coming out, and I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, which one is that one again? And a couple of them look similar to one another, and but man, like the buffalo tooth. I swear they just came out with that, and they could ride that way for a while. That buffalo tooth is amazing. And I hope to see that in more than just the three covers that they came out with. I have the Cocobolo wood. It's absolutely gorgeous. Love to see that one keep going with new covers. Hopefully that happens. Dan says, what owns me? Axes and machetes. Sure. Yes. Axes and machetes. I feel you. I feel you. I love short swords. And what's a machete but a short sword? Izzy Joseph says, pretty good looking for a $25 Bowie. Yes, sir. Agreed. And I gotta say, a really great performer for 3CR steel. Hollywood Tactical, good to have you here, sir. Finally can check in now that the elections are over. It's been a rough few months. Well, it's good to have you back here, man. I cannot remember. Do you do political ads or something like that? Uh, a lot of that happening here. Happy Haptics EDC says, yes, Bob, the new Elvia, yeah, has all the extra details done right this time. From the texturing on the scales to the copper toned blade and overall styling. Stoked. Yes. And just like if you held it up to the sky, just the profile, there's something about it looks subtly different, subtly better. Maybe it's a more slender blade or something. Yeah. Well, I can't wait to hear you enjoying your new Turner. Kevin Moore, good to have you here, Kevin Moore. Good evening, my brethren of the sharp and pointy. May your blades always be slicey and your points stabby. Yes, I would second that. Hollywood Tactical says you can get horn, antler, etc. off eBay. Oh, you mean I don't have to pick it out of I don't have to pull it out of my dog's gaping maw? Well, I guess it wouldn't be gaping, clenched maw. Hey, Professor EDC, good to have you here. Hey, fellow junkies, Bob, Jim. Hope everyone is doing well. What's up? We're talking about our collections, Professor EDC. Do your knives own you? Do your knives own you? Izzy Joseph, I can send you some elk antler from up here in Washington if you want. Oh, hell yeah, Izzy, that would be really cool. And actually, that would be part of what would make this even better. Is to know that the antler is special. That would be awesome, man. Let's email me at TheKnifeJunkie.com at gmail.com or TheKnifeJunkie at gmail.com and let me know how I can get that and we'll work that out. That sounds really awesome. Happy Haptic says you just need to stabilize the antler or stag. Okay, that's what I wasn't sure of. And obviously what you buy for your dog is not stabilized, right? So they must do that vacuum thing where they like they do with stabilizing wood, where the vacuum pulls the epoxy through all the pores and all that. That's cool. Razorback. Oh, by the way, I think you've got a really cool avatar. Razorback says, you got any sword canes, Bob? Yes, I only have one. We can't get them. Trench knives, balisongs, daggers, shurikens, or autos here. Oh, man. In Australia, antlers stink hard. Yeah, I've heard that. When ground, haha, be prepared to smell for the next week. Okay, so that's awful. I have my grinder is outside, so it's I pull it out of the shed and I do all, like, whenever I grind something, it's outside because I don't have any way of exhausting in dust in this room. But yeah, I've heard it's just nasty, horrible. But I'm sorry, Jim, can you go back for 1 second, please? Oh, the sword canes. Oh, first of all, I'm sorry that you can't get daggers, for God's sake, or trench knives or balisongs in Australia, or autos. That is a shame, but maybe someday that changes. Hopefully someday that changes. Sword canes. I have one sword cane and it's the Cold Steel heavyweight sword cane. So it's got the shaft is like a steel pipe. It's pretty awesome, actually. Steel pipe. I'd say it's about 3/4 of an inch, and then and it doesn't taper at all. It's just a metal pipe, and it just cracks me up. And it's got a ferrule at the bottom, a rubber ferrule, and then it friction fits into the cane. And I've had this cane for 12 years maybe, and over that time the friction is still as frictiony as ever. And you pull it out and it's a full length, like 29-inch uh, single-edged blade, but the last like 9 inches on top, or no, the last 6 inches on the top of the blade are also sharp. So I mean, you could do some horrifying, uh, you know, damage if you had to duel with your sword cane. I've carried it. Let's say I've carried it a couple of times when I've gone walking in the woods around here at night. Um, and in the long run, like, or not in the long run, but in retrospect, I don't know how I could actually bring that to bear. I don't know how well that would all work out. Ryan Walker says, "How are you going to put the antler on the knife?" Well, I'll figure that out when I get there. You know what I was thinking? This is what I was thinking. And actually, my drill press is actually in here, so this would actually stink. So maybe I'd have to figure this out with just a hand drill. But what I was thinking is just taking a hand drill and milling it out and being very careful and getting a. That's why I would cut this tang. It's pretty long, so I would cut the tang here. Let me put this down here and cut it right here, and then fit it with like a whole ton of epoxy there, but also have pre-drilled holes on it and put the pins through it. So there's a mechanical connection, and then there's an epoxy connection, and then I also am gonna build a guard for it. I guess out of brass because that's nice and soft, but it works, works well. So that's what I'm thinking. I've seen enough Forged in Fire that I feel like I know how to put a stick tang. I feel like I've done it like several hundred times at this point, but I feel like I can do a stick tang. We'll see. We'll go on this little journey together. We'll go on this voyage at sea together. See, it doesn't work. Journey. Let's stop using journey, people. Dan Mitchell says, "What owns me? Axes, machetes, shears, flippers, slip joints, fixed blades, fillet choppers, utility scissors, pairing, and the list goes on and on." Yes, scissors. I mean, geez, 2 for the price of 1, right? Dwayne Letterman says, "Just got the Formax Scout on Amazon, $55. Beautiful, Dwayne. Beautiful. All right. All right. That's a good deal. Good to know. And congratulations on your purchase. Ketmuk Nessart says, "Bob, you should check out some of the antler-handled knives at Bear Forest Knives has right now." He has a couple on his website right now. Okay. Bear Forest, writing it down. Oh, yeah. Do love the stag. All right. Let me show you what my, Brandon Sutton, $5. "Don't breathe in antler. Avoid soaking in water. And sandbar stag is usually better than whitetail. Elk could work. I never did a hidden tang stag, though." Oh, okay, Brandon. All right. Then I will take advice as it comes. Let's see. To salute you, sir. All of this antler talk. Now, I don't know what kind of bone this is, but it's bone. I'm going to salute you with this super awesome Western W49 Bowie. This one is from 1980. 1980. You can go on the you can do one of those searches I did and see that the D under, let's see, it says Western USA W49, and then it has a capital D. Let's see, right there, capital D. That means 1980, or that's how they designated 1980. So I was 9 years old when this knife was made, which is kind of cool to think of that this was out there. And the hoodlum that had this bent down the quillion, which took considerable effort because I tried to bend it back and not happening. At least not with how I attempted it. And so he had that bent down, no doubt, for protecting his hand, and then put this anonymous bone. I hope it's, I don't know. I don't know what bone it is, but it's a bone, and put that on the handle. And something about this knife has a little bit of, has a little bit of soul to it, kind of like the knives on the wall behind me. It's just it's not old Bowie, but it's 40 years old. It's a 40-year-old Bowie with a anonymous bone handle and a quillion bent down for extra fighting safety. So I like to think maybe a biker owned this, like a 1%er, or you know, our Vikings, or I don't know, some other debt collector. I don't know. So this, Brandon, is for you, sir. Even though it's not a stick tang, I thank you, and any advice you can offer, I will appreciate. And thank you for that super chat. Dissentient01 says, "What's your next Bark River?" I don't know. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't keep up with what they have coming out, but I must say that I lately have been keeping an eye out for. I love their Bowies, obviously, and I have two of them, and I'll hang that up later. And a Boone 2, which is also a clip point. So I would love to get another one of their Bowies. I would love to get the Highwayman Bowie by them. Holy mackerel, that thing is cool, and it's bigger than the Shining Mountain too, and it's got a longer, almost looks like a Mexican Bowie in blade. Slingshot Warrior, good to have you here, Slingshot Warrior. Hello, I'm a knife owner and archer. Well, it's awesome to have you here. That both awesome pursuits. Awesome dagger, he says. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. I got a slingshot 2 summers ago, when I was taking my daughters to the woods a lot, and I just picked up that and just started shooting it. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And then I think I freaked someone out and I stopped doing it for a while. Kevin says, carrying a Ben Banter's carry. Have the Wee Banter in blue and the NAF's Lander in black. Of course, the Quill XL. That's so cool. You have yours wrapped, right? A challenge coin and brass pocket egg. Brass pocket egg. What's that? Fun stuff. What is a brass pocket egg? Is it like a challenge, or is it like something you just kind of have just to have, and it's cool? Let me know. Vef Serrations, channel the medium into the serrations. Yes, because they're large scoops and they're backward angling, and yeah, they are pretty effective. Hero Stick says, I can't keep up with Finch either. One of my favorite brands, but several of the new offerings are a little one note. Agree. Oh, interesting. Yeah. So, you might say, you got time. People love you. You don't have to put them all out now. Slower drip, because I still feel the afterglow from the buffalo's tooth, and that was like several knives back. Professor EDC says, carried the and by the way, I love them and they're awesome, and it just goes to show they have a lot of talent. I'm not trying to diss Finch at all, but they do have a lot of stuff coming out. Carried the CKF 520, the Jack Wolf Knives Cyborg Jack, says Professor EDC, and the Leatherman Wingman. That 520, that's a nice big knife, and also a compelling drop point. Slingshot Warrior says, I own axes and machetes. Very nice. Are you an axe nerd? Like, do you have the German axes? I have. Oh man, now I'm blocking the name. Gransford Brooks. Does that sound familiar? I have Brooks. I have a hatchet that a friend of mine who is an axe nerd gave me, and I love it. And I've never really sharpened the edge. It came with a somewhat serviceable edge, but I just keep it pristine. I think it's a thing of beauty. Gainsford Brooks, something like that. It's a Gungan. Good to have you here. It's a Gungan. I just picked up a Tops Hammerhawk. Oh, sweet. I definitely want to start collecting more axes and tomahawks. You guys should check out Wingard Wearables, man. Their tomahawks are sweet fighting tomahawks. That is the caveat. You're not doing any door breaching with this, but man, it is built for pain compliance, if not worse, and light and maneuverable. These things are so cool. Love these. Smatchets are tragically underrated. Oh my God, I could not agree with you more. As a matter of fact, it's kind of a crime that I don't have a Smatchet hanging on the wall. This is a nice way to segue into my EDCs from this past week. I carried the Smatchet this past week. Actually, this was my Wednesday carry. This is the Boker Smatchet. This was a gift from This Old Sword Blade Reviews. Again, Dave, thank you so much. I will always be grateful for this beauty. I love this knife. And in this gorgeous rosewood, I believe this is rosewood. You got that Art Deco clip. I love the look of the clip. And the whole thing, it's a great tribute to the classic weapon, the Smatchet. And that was a weapon first, tool second. You know, if they used it to chop down vegetation to get to the enemy, well, that was the secondary purpose. Great knife. Chuck Gudritis designed this. So there you have it. I didn't have to say so about that, but Chuck Gudritis designed that. Love that knife. So yes, the Smatchet is shockingly and tragically underrated. Let me show you what else I had. I had the Resco Instruments Mekong Delta Combat folder. The Gooseworks, Blade Works. So Resco Instruments, they make Navy SEAL watches. I threw that up in quotes. I shouldn't. A lot of Navy SEALs really like the Resco Instruments, and the guys who design those watches are former SEALs or frogmen. And then they have a little offshoot company called Gooseworks or Goose Blade Works, and they make the Mekong Delta Combat folder. They design it and distribute it and have it made by Best Tech. And this knife is incredible. You know how much I love Best Tech, but I also love washer knives. And this washer knife has really outstanding action. So that was one of them. So these are let's see, those two. And then when was this? Tuesday, I guess. I'm not going to remember the days I carried these, but I had the Wharncliffe, the XM18 Wharncliffe No Choil DLT exclusive. Great knife, great shape. And the front of that front angle on the Hinderer Wharncliffes, you'll see it on the Yojimbo, and you'll see it on the Contact and a couple of other Pinkerton knives. That is the perfect angle for the front portion of a Wharncliffe. Just in case anyone ever asks you, that angle, whatever it is, I have yet to measure it, is the perfect angle. Speaking of Saxes and Wharncliffes, I had the Sax by Emerson on me. Probably, I don't know, I vacillate, but it's definitely in my top 3 for favorite Emerson knives. And this one is just, incredibly sharp, incredibly sharp. Jared Neve sharpened this one for me, I believe. Yep. Wicked sharp. Also got the old MXG gear clip on there. See, it doesn't bother me when you have enough clearance. The button screws don't bother me that much. Let's see, 2 more knives. One of them was mentioned earlier tonight, and that is the Tempest Pinion. I dig this knife, designed by Casey of the Knives Fast channel, and of course, Tempest Knives. I was on the pre-order for this and got the beautiful micarta version. Love this thing. It's in black G10, micarta, blue G10, and he just recently started offering the what do you call it? Natural jade G10. So I had this on me, and I must say, every day I also had a slip joint, some sort of form of ESK, and then I always had this. Been carrying this nonstop. All right, last up, this week's EDC. Now, when I say EDC, of course, I'm talking about my front right pocket knives this week, because that's the anchor position as far as I'm concerned. The Arcona Nettle. I can even front flip it with my right hand. Just a beautiful knife. I love this linen micarta with the gray and the black and blue, but the way it's contoured and then milled, it looks like there's gray in there. You have that big, broad drop point blade with the swedge and outstanding action. Yeah, this was a surprise carry. Not surprise, but it was I'll tell you. On Monday, I was carrying this a little bit Sunday night in the jammies, and took it out Monday morning was a Charlie Foxtrot getting out of the house on time. And I did not have time to go down and peruse the knife case and just grab this off the dresser, popped it in my pocket. So that's what I was carrying this week. This was my this week's EDC. So happy to have it. What about you guys? Anything of note this week? Anything new this week? Do let me know. I know you've all gotten something new. Maybe not this week, and maybe not even last week. But you know, something you've always got your eye on something coming in and going. So, do my knives own me? You don't own me, and they don't own me either. But I'm starting to feel like I gotta sell some. Someone put up here before, one of the best things I ever did was start selling them, and I do, but I don't know what to get rid of. And I have so many now that are gifts, and I don't get rid of gift knives. So what do? Just end up with the gift knives? Can't do that either. Slingshot Warrior says, and a spear is a knife on a stick. No doubt. Slingshot Warrior, you ever check out the spears from Cold Steel, like the what the hell was that called? I'm thinking Shamjock, but that was that whip thing. The African throwing spears, really cool. Curious if, as a projectile guy, but if you'd ever try one of their throwing spears. Ryan Walker says, for a stick tang, you may need to burn it in. Huh. I don't know if I get that 3CR hot enough, it might just melt. No, I'm just kidding. Cesar Chavez, good to have you here, sir. Do you have anything in desert ironwood? No, I've been wanting something with that for the longest time. I do not. I would love that. I would love that on a Bowie knife or a fixed blade. That would be sweet. Desert ironwood is gorgeous, and apparently, as the name might indicate, it's a pain in the ass to work with. Hero Stick says, has anyone handled the new Vastid Raccoon? I have one of those incoming, and their new little button lock. Their new little button lock is the Raccoon. Oh, or you're talking about the one that also has the 3 opening methods. Still loving the Nightshade, and their Thunderbird is getting great reviews. Oh, okay. I read that wrong. Yes, the Raccoon is their button lock, and the Thunderbird is the one with all of the opening methods. I think they're sending me a Raccoon because I really liked the Nightshade, and they liked that I liked the Nightshade. So they're like, you want to check out the Raccoon? I said, yeah, yes, please. Because button locks are fun. I mean, really, fun. I think, what do you think? More fun than a bar lock, right? Just a little bit more fun. Takes just a little bit less effort, you know? What do you think? Oh, can I see Blame Dexter's comment? Blame Dexter, good to have you here. Blame Dexter. I got it on USA made blades, Hinderer half track, exclusive warranty. Pretty excited about it. That sounds freaking awesome. I don't have a half track, but I do like the look of it, and I have held the full track, and that is a nice knife. Slingshot Warrior says the slingshot community and the knife community are similar and overlap. Interesting. It's also kind of like pens and watches, like that can get thrown in there. There are also slingshot knife combos. Do you know about the Tops Knives slingshot? And what do you think of that? Gransford. Thank you. Okay, let me see. Gransfurs Gransfursbruch. Gransfursbruch. That does not roll off the tongue. And I took German for several years. I can have a very short and unsophisticated conversation in German. Slingshot Warrior says, I have tomahawks and a battle axe I never use. Well, good. I'm glad. I'm glad for 2 reasons. I'm glad you have the battle axe in case you ever have to use it, but I'm glad you've never used it. Gransford Brooks, so good. I have their small forest axe and their felling axe. Outstanding. The one I have is a little hatchet. And what a beauty, man. What a beauty. KF Boston, good to have you here, KF. Have my Monkey Edge frag pattern SMF in 3V and my CRKT Umnumzan with said frag pattern in Magnica. Damn, man. So two different monkey edge knives. One the SMF by Strider and the Chris Reeve knives Unumzan. I have nothing from Monkey's Edge. I would like to go to their. I think they stopped doing it during the pandemic, and I don't know if they picked back up. But the Monkey Muster would be cool to go to. It's a Gungan says I almost pulled the trigger on that Resco. May end up getting on their watches eventually. Yeah, I'm actually. I love this Resco so much that I might sell some folders to get the one that they're selling right now, which is the bolster lock with micarta and a hollow grind. This grind is a bit obtuse. I mean, it's very sharp, but Emerson Sachs rips. I love the Emerson Sachs myself. I love that knife. Such a great shape. It's so sharp. Ryan Walker, I got a Keen Cutter full-size axe with the 3D stamp on it. I give my axes a larger shoulder to sit on, then hammer the wedges in. Oh, okay. I got old axes from auction and my grandpa. How cool. And do you refinish them or kind of bring them back to a pristine steel and that kind of thing? That's really cool. Mark Ridgewell, good to have you here, Mark. Damn you, Bob. I got to get a stick Bowie now. I got to get a stick Bowie now. Which is best for a noob? Oh, okay. All right. Depends on how noob you want to go. But if you just want to just get a sweet taste, like Lou Reed says, you can get this for $25. This is the Black Mule Bowie from Rough Rider, 3 Sierra 13, which is not impressive sounding, but I have thumped on this and it performs impressively and is still sharp. And by thump on it, I mean I've did a bunch of batoning of the kiln dried wood I get at the grocery store. Hard, nasty stuff. And this thing, I don't know how or why, but it performs really well. It is, however, a rubber handle, and mine has kind of, as I mentioned earlier, has loosened up. Though it is full tang, unlike other Rough Rider Bowies like the Rough Rider Highland Bowie, which has a stick tang literally this long. And they call it full tang, and they fake it with this armature that goes around that looks, it's not an armature, it's like a steel plate that makes it look like it's full tang. I watched someone's video and now I can't remember the guy's name, so I'm sorry I can't credit it, but because I was thinking of the Highland Bowie, I was like, that's another cheap. I was so impressed with this Rough Rider cheap Bowie. Maybe I'll check out that one. And it is the guy took it apart. It's a stick tang, and it literally goes about an inch, and it's got two little spot welds holding it in, and then holding it to a steel frame that goes around as the handle. Just a piece of crap, and just a cheap piece of crap. But this one, sorry, you weren't asking about that, but this one is a good $25, and it give you a sense. And I love the blade shape. That's like the Shining Mountain blade shape. Now for $60, you could get this. This is the SP10 by Ontario. That's 1095 blade steel, incredibly sharp. That's how I did this. Really cool. That's the Marine Raider Bowie. So it's got the classic V44 Marine Raider kind of blade shape. So different from this Shining Mountain blade shape. The point is a little less trailing, a little more center line. The handle is way more, well, it's thicker and more solid, and it's fully attached to the tang on this. It's not coming off. This is a more sturdy bet, but this is about 2.25 times the price of this one. Both good, both under $100, and both about 9.5 inches long. So Mark, I would say, depending on your price range, or you start moving north. And if you want to start moving north, we can talk about that. And oddly enough, even though it's probably the least dramatic design, this is probably still my all-time favorite because of how amazing it performs. And that's the That's the Trailmaster, the simple old Trailmaster Bowie. And not for nothing, if I really, really had to go knife fight someone, uh, of all of my of everything, if it weren't that if it weren't my birthday, um, uh, well, okay, I'll put it this way: of all my production knives, this would be the one I would take. This thing just is amazing in hand. Whether you're batoning wood relentlessly with that wedge shape, full flat ground, 5/16 of an inch thick or a quarter inch. I can't remember. It's quarter inch thick. This thing's incredible. And then as a fighter, it's got a zero ground swedge and an incredibly sharp blade, and is nice and thin and that's what you want out of a fighting Bowie. And man, it moves great. This knife is incredible. And if you can get it a cheap one, like this is an SK5, probably. I don't know. This is very old. This is Carbon V. So it can be had in a number of different blade steels. But if you're only gonna ever get one Bowie and you're convinced of that fact, get the Trailmaster. That's what my dad did. Actually, several years ago, many years ago at this point, he was like, I just want one, I want one fixed blade. And he, of course, has gotten more since then, but because he kind of got into it. But at first, it was only the Trailmaster. He's got the black Trailmaster, and suits him. Professor EDC says, New got the CKF. Oh, Secotia. I think that is that the one with the nail neck and the clip point blade? That's like the white whale for me. Gaston, in terms of CKF knives. Gaston Garcia, good to have you here, sir. New this week, a Kaiser Mojave original, beautiful 154 cm gunmetal scales. It's truly great. I have this one out that I was flipping around, and it's a Kaiser button lock also, and yeah, really great. But that original, I think it's really cool because that is an original design with Mojave, and that's awesome. Never Enough Knives 007 says, oh yeah, Samburu spear. I have one. How does it fly? Is it sweet? Slingshot Warrior says, oh, let me be careful resheathing these. I have a Sheffield Reaper throwing spear. Ooh, that sounds cool. Throwing spears. I like it. Actually more intuitive to me than throwing a knife, probably because there's no flipping involved, and you just sort of. And a tri-edged spear. Very nice. Tri-edged. All right. So I want to show you some really, really cool knives that are on loan to me since I just showed you the Marine Raider Bowie. Or Bowie. Did I say Bowie? I said Bowie. I meant Bowie. Blade Ogre says, got the Heretic Slay, a slight handle accessory coming in so I can turn the push dagger into a fixed blade if I want to. How cool. Oh, I can't wait to see what that even looks like. The Swinging Axe says, good evening, fine knife junkies. Well, good evening to you, the Swinging Axe. Good to have you here. I carried the Protect TR3 in Magna Cut. I love the TR3 and Magna Cut, Oh, and you have the fish scale. So that's what I always wanted. And when I was buying my TR3, they didn't have that. So I've always kind of coveted the fish scale. And my favorite knife, the Spyderco Capara with burlap micarta from Rip's Garage Tech. That's sweet. Nice carry, man. And it's nice to hear an axe guy with very fine taste in folding knives. All right, I want to show you. Oh, let's see. Kevin Moore says, I've ordered the Thunderbird, waiting now. So slow. I know that feeling. We all know that feeling. All right, let me show you these knives. Skookum Danger sent me these knives to check out. And God, I'm going to avoid the language, but man alive, are these beautiful. Whew. First, let's start with these incredibly contoured sheaths. Well, what are these? These are James Williams designed. They are called Hira Zukuris, and they are produced by Winkler Knives. So, I mean, two great tastes that taste great together. You got Winkler Knives producing James Williams designs. Look at this. Oh my God. I'm still in amazement over these. They are just beautiful pieces of wicked cutlery. Of course, Japanese inspired. You see the sort of the handle, the milling in the handles. Scales are evocative of the cord wrapping on a Japanese knife, as is the jimping. The way the jimping comes off, it looks like the raised portions of wrap, but also it's there to really grab the hand because there is no blade guard on this. But when I had James Williams on the show, I asked him about why no blade guards, and besides the fact that it ruins the beautiful flow of the lines and everything, why would this knife not have a blade guard? And a lot of it comes down to the fact that this is a thrusting implement, and that tip is so acute that it easily breaches most surfaces. And then you have these deep jimps, and you have a micarta, and you have all of the texturing that butts in, and then this can butt into your hand. And basically, his point was, you don't need a guard with this knife. Upward curved and for slashing, and that point for obvious thrusting. And then the beautiful sheath. Now, the Winkler knives sheaths are even the Kydex. They line them with felt so that when you're doing night ops and you have to, do some sentry removal, they don't hear when you remove your knife from the sheath. They will hear this. Well, they'll hear nothing. But if they were to hear it, it's that. Hear that? No, probably not. Or if you do, you're like, what was that? And that's it. But look at this. This is the other one. This is the Hira Zukuri 9-inch. This one is 5.75 inches. This beauty is 9 inches. Look at this. Oh, I mean, it almost makes me nervous how sharp these things are, how pointy. I had to just for as a family portrait here. This one also comes with a black leather that is nice and stout. This is more, I mean, they're both very hard and stout, but this one has a more supple look because it's got a broader grain. And this is just tough as nails with that felt lined sheath. But let me show you this. This is my old Otanashi. Wait, what is this? Hisatsu. Designed by James Williams and produced by CRKT. That's our bar knife. You can see the obvious family resemblance. I just wanted to take a look at them together. I gotta say, I do love the way this looks with its facets. What a great knife this is. Crown spine, distal taper. Well, starting from there, great knife. And then these, I don't know if you can still buy this, but I'm pretty sure these are about 10 times the cost. Look at that thing. Anyone experience one of these or have any James Williams knives? I know Dave does. But what do you think of these things? Absolutely gorgeous, no? And then, of course, Winkler made. Just awesome knives. Well, thank you to Skookum Danger for sending me those to check out. Skookum, I think that's a colloquial term for Sasquatch somewhere. Is that right? Razorback says Ontario SP 10 Bowie in 1095 is a good buy. Strip the coating for a little more character. That sounds like a good idea. First, I'll bang it through some wood and get it all scuffed up for a little bit of that character. The Cold Steel Marauder is a good cheap Bowie. All right, it's a Gungan. I had one and I sent it back. And I was very hopeful for that knife because it looks cool and I love the shape of the blade. It's just it was so blade heavy. And for that knife in particular, it looks, and with the sub hilt, seems like it is made as a fighter, but it was so heavy, front heavy. It's like more like a chopper, and that's fine if you want it for that. But I didn't want it for that, so I returned it thinking I will seek out an old one, which I think were hollow ground, which would give it a different balance. Kevin Moore says, Bob, the brass pocket egg is a small brass egg that I fidget with in my pocket. That's it. Okay. All right. That's what I was trying to think of the term worry stone, which oftentimes that's what these are for me, a worry stone. But that's cool. A little golden egg. Izzy Joseph, I've been begging Mr. Williams and his sons to release a 13-inch model. They said maybe. Izzy, keep begging. That sounds awesome. 13-inch. I mean, that's a short sword, right? That would be like a wakizashi. I guess wakizashi has a slightly longer blade, but 13 inches, man. And the feeling of these handles just, this one is interesting because it's burlap micarta. So it has a different texture already. This one is canvas micarta. But fearsome. I would run like hell if someone pulled one of these things out and threatened me. I would run as fast as I possibly could, because those things just cut you looking at you. The Hisatsu looks right at home between those two. Yes, indeed. Yeah, this thing is cool. I really like the Hisatsu. Slingshot Warrior said they look awesome. Yes, agreed, sir. I agree. They do. And, James Williams, if you don't know who he is, he's an American Japanese weapons and martial arts expert, swordsman, and I mean he is into the esoteric. I mean, he studied it so far. He's like into the esoteric stuff. Like he describes different moves and ways of hiding different things and different moves, and I mean just way over my head. But a brilliant dude. You got to check it out. I have several Williams and CRKT collabs. They're hard to beat, not hard to beat, but hard to resist. They're just so appealing. And they make a cool, really big CRKT that Izzy, I think, is close to 13 inches. And it's got like a crazy upswept curve. I wonder if you're lobbying to have a sort of high-end version of that made by them. Never Enough Knives 007 says those are both beauties. Yeah, and the sheaths, man. It cannot be emphasized enough how nice these sheaths are. They're very rigid. They're very rigid leather. I love when people do that, or companies do that, but then nice and soft on the inside. Yes, sir. Skookum means big man in Chinook tribal jargon. I'm an American Indian in Washington. Muckleshoot tribe. Oh, cool. I've never heard of the Muckleshoot tribe, but that's cool information. Thank you, sir. I'm very interested in that topic and the different interesting creatures and spirits that inhabit the forest. I mean, who am I to say they don't? All I know is even in our local suburban woods, you walk in there at night, it's a different place. I don't care what anyone says. And yes, it's that could also be because someone might be lurking about because I live close to a city, but also just I don't know, something about trees and woods at night. Have a Knife Day says how to survive a knife fight. Run. Exactly. Or as one martial arts teacher of mine was fond of saying, the guy who wins the knife fight is the guy who dies second. that was kind of keeping it real. No matter how many cool techniques you learn, chances are, unless you're dueling and you're incredibly experienced and cool as a cucumber, all of that technique that you learn is for drilling. It's for developing attributes, speed, timing, distance, accuracy, power, all of those things. That's what you're teaching yourself when you're doing those flow drills. You're not saying, this is exactly what I'm going to do in a fight. I'm going to do all these things. No, you're not. You're going to go nuts like everybody else who's not used to getting into a knife fight. However, if you've developed the attributes of speed, distance training, speed, distance, timing, power, accuracy, well, you stand a better chance. Chris S says, hi, first time viewer. One of my biggest, hi, Chris S. Good to have you here, sir. One of my biggest surprises in fixed blades I've purchased is the Topps Hazen Legion Wicked Fighter for the Bucks. That I remember that came out a couple of years ago, and I was in love with it, and it was kind of between that or the Prather or the Prather. I'll put these under the knife cam. The Prather War Buoy or the Wild Pig Hunter, and then there were a couple of others, and the Hazen was right up there. And I would love to get that knife. Actually, who was it? It was Scab of Choir Boys Cutlery was showing off his Hazen Bowie or his Hazen Fighter the other day, and I was like, oh yeah. I forgot I kind of dropped that because sometimes I go in and out and I cycle through, and so I didn't get the Silent Hero at this time. I wanted the Silent Hero at this time, and then there was one other that I wanted when I was in this particular Topps phase. But very nice, Chris S. That's a sweet knife. Izzy says, I can't remember what the big CRKT Williams blade was called. Yeah, I don't either, but it was big. I mean, it's like a legit short sword. I also want to say before I forget, because I probably will when I'm signing out, tomorrow is Veterans Day, and I want to just thank every veteran who's listening and just every veteran that I know and that I don't know. I just want to thank you for doing your part and incidentally my part, because I never served in the military. So I want to thank you for voluntarily taking on that responsibility of protecting me and my family and my community and my country. I appreciate it greatly from the bottom of my heart. So here's to you, veterans. Cheers, and have a happy, wonderful, restorative Veterans Day. Here's to you. Chris S. Really like the Japanese CRKT. Yeah. Name of that, please. Oh, okay. I have some older CRKTs. This one is an older one, but I think they might still offer it. This is the Hisatsu. Here, I'm put it under here. Spelled like this. Hisatsu. And this is not the finish that came on this. I did at some point hit this with some sandpaper for some reason. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, HISSATSU. And they have a number of others, larger and smaller than this, but this was the very first one they came out with. So yeah, check it out. I think it's a reasonably priced, and the Winkler Williams ones are sold out and not reasonably priced, and secondary market, I'm sure they're outrageous. Have a Knife Day says, I have resheathed all of my CRKT Williams fixed blades except the HZG. I have made, oh, that is a cool one. I have made a leather Tech-Lock belt adapter. Many of them are veft. Jeez, man. Wow. Yeah, well, I could see why. Actually, that makes sense. Because these are so point-oriented. And no doubt, I mean, this knife would be a wicked slasher, but you add 3 VEF serrations in this section here, and then forget it. This is 100% unstoppable. The man who's holding it isn't, but the knife is. Chris S says one of the Native American knife fighting techniques was to cut the tendon behind the knee. Yes, I've seen that, and I've seen cool. I've never trained in Native American knife fighting, but I had a seminar that included some of it, and there was cool stuff. I one that I really remember that I wanted to like get right and only worked on it during that seminar and never came back to it, but is something where you're going under an arm and then breaking it over your shoulder as you're stabbing them in the ribs. It was like a really cool move that you would do if you're in that situation. And tomahawk fighting with a Bowie, that's also very cool. Gaston Garcia says, tonight my dog ran away and I had to do a night search through the neighborhood in the night. Carried my SRK C, that's the compact SRK. Nice to feel a little bit protected by a great knife. Found the dog. Thank God you found the dog, Gaston. Or thank you. You went out and found the dog, but I'm glad he was okay. Glad your dog was okay. That's a panic feeling, disconcerting feeling. I have a little hunter killer cat that she'll leave. She goes about her business, goes out and does her killing. Some killing needs doing, Dad. And I let her out and she goes and does her thing. And then she comes back and eats food and sleeps here. But every once in a while, she'll be out overnight and then we'll hear foxes. It's like, oh man, Luna, I hope you're hunkered down. Though she one day chased a fox out of our backyard. And that same day she chased a snake out of our backyard. Slingshot Warrior says a man armed with a walking stick could defeat a man armed with a knife. Yes, he could, but I'd rather be the guy with the knife, honestly, in a fight like that. I would rather be the guy with the knife. You can't get the distance, but you can also break through that distance. And if you have the knife, and even if you take a couple on the chin, I guess I'd rather have the knife. Have a Knife Day says the Williams Shinbu. Oh, that's the big one. That's the big one. Well, it's not that big, but the Williams Shinbu. Chris S says, thanks to all who have served for my friends and family's freedom. Amen. I'm with you, sir. I agree. Izzy says Shinbu is badass. Yes, that thing is cool. The Shinbu is overall length is 14.75 inches. Blade length is 9.25. Is there one that's bigger than 9.25 inches? I feel like there is, because that's only this big, and I feel like there's one that's even more short sortie. That's longer than the HZT. Oh yeah, well that one, yeah, that's more of an EDC. But the biggest Williams is the CRKT James Williams Hishu fixed blade Kydex sheath 2910. Okay, that's the one that I'm thinking of. The Hishu is close to his Satsu. Yeah, cool stuff. All in all, cool stuff. Speaking of CRKT, they have a new one in their Forged for War knife series. Have you guys seen this? It's called the Taco Viper. Now, I saw this and it made me crack up because we have a little character. You know how when you have kids, or maybe you don't, but maybe you remember when you were a kid, little goofy little family things pop up. Well, when we had taco nights, I would affect this guy. His name is Taco. Hey, Taco's coming for dinner. Hey, Taco. Hey, Taco. What are we having for dinner? We're having tacos. What do you think? And yeah, I could do that all night long. And there was a time, very short window of time, where, man, the girls just thought that was hilarious. And they would laugh and laugh. And I'd be a star without having to put any effort out. I'd just go, hey, Taco, what you do, Taco? So when the Taco Viper came out, I was like, that's the knife for me. That's Taco's knife, because it is a 4-inch plus knife here with VEF serrations. You got 4 on this one. I think this is really cool. So this is a Forged for War series. So this is a series that CRKT has been doing for a number of years, where veterans, and this is very apropos, where veterans, combat veterans, design knives, and CRKT produces them. The Clever Girl was one of them. There was that Kukri. There have been a number of them. I just don't remember the names of them. Well, this is the son of another designer here. And what do you think of this thing? I think it's pretty cool. The blade almost looks like one of these Japanese style blades, but it it also has the sort of just plain sort of drop pointness that you. Yeah, but you kind of see a little bit of that. But anyway, with the VEF serrations in there, it gives it an overall sort of recurve feel, and I think that looks really great. But I'm trying to figure out 4.22 inches, and the blade steel is 1.4116. How do we feel about 1.4116? I don't know. I've never used it. I'm not charmed by the name, by the moniker. But for a 4.22-inch bladed knife. This thing comes in at 5.2 ounces. That's pretty good. That's pretty light. It's an assisted open. You know how I feel about that. I don't think it has to be, but maybe for mass producing. And as we like to forget, a lot of people out there like their assisted opens. So there you go. So the guy who made the TechPuddy fixed blade knife and the Zolotl folder, his son designed these. And I don't know if you remember, but the TechPuddy was the really cool push dagger that looks kind of like a skeleton or like a skull. Similar to there was a World War I era knuckle duster with blade that looked like a skull, and it kind of reminds me of that. So very cool, very cool. Thank you, CRKT. And then I wanted to mention this one other last folder, and only for a two selfish reasons. But from Fox in their Black Sable line is Grigory Matveev, who is a Russian designer, has a couple of knives coming out through them. And this is one of them. First of all, I think it's beautiful. I really like the lines of the overall knife, the handle, the blade is gorgeous. It looks like a 1-to-1 blade to handle ratio. I mean, effectively, that's what it looks like. I love the wood handle. So I really like it. This turned my eye. But what I really like about it is that it's called Argus. And that's the name of my dog. We call him Argo because that rolls off our tongue easier. But Argus is his real name. And Argus is Odysseus's dog who waits 20 years for him to come home from the battle at, from the siege at Troy, and then 10 years, Poseidon's victim just trying to get home. And he shows up at home, and there's Argus lying forgotten on a pile of filth. And he sees Odysseus, who is disguised by Athena in that moment to look like a wretch, an old wretch, a wretched old man. But the dog recognizes his owner through that godly disguise, stands up, wags his tail once, and then collapses in a heap and dies. And that is like the greatest symbol of loyalty and unconditional love ever. So that's why we named our dog Argus. And so it is cool to see this knife named that. It's like the knife will be your loyal companion until its very last flip, when it finally collapses into a heap of parts, on your work table. So that's what I got out of that article. I don't even know what the steel is on this, but I think it looks cool and I love the meaning of it. And this is Fox's budget company, this Black Sable. So take that for what it's worth. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Knife Life news for this evening. So keep your eyes peeled for cool new things coming out on the market. And also let me know in these last few moments, are there, not last few moments, that sounds very dire, but in the last few moments for this evening's show, let me know what you have coming in. Do you have anything new that you got coming? Anyone tried Liang Nama's budget Eutectic Trinity? I tried them at Blade Show and really liked them. And I like those. They're very simple and clean. I do like those, and I've kind of forgotten about them, but I want to check them out. Taco Viper, awesome name, good looking blade. Hey, Taco. Yeah, Taco Viper. I love that. Jay McConnell, good to see you, sir. Evening, junkies. I don't have any VEF serrations and may need some in my life. What is your favorite VEFT knife? I don't know. Honestly, there's a guy that I follow. Nothing that has VEF serrations that come on it, because most of those are CRKT knives. But I have seen, there's a guy I follow called Matt Culbertson on YouTube, and I've been following him and his brother Hisatsu 5 for years and years. They are dyed-in-the-wool cold steel junkies, and they got permission, or Matt Culbertson got permission from Mr. Veff. I can't remember what his first name is. I always want to say Jeff Veff, but I'm not sure if I'm just being a goofball or if that's his real name. But Mr. Veff, the serrations guy, he reached out to him and said, I'd like to put them on my blade. And he said, you may put them on your blade. You just cannot sell them or anything. But if you want to just keep. So this guy, Matt Culbertson, has, with his own Dremel, put Veff serrations on his big cold steel folders. And yeah, that is cool. So Jay, that's my long way of saying I'm not sure. You got to check out online what's coming already with Veff serrations, but I dare say, if you're not selling it, you could put them on any knife you want if you have a Dremel. And I'm not saying that they will be as good as Mr. Veff's himself, but you'll probably get close enough. Hollywood Tactical says Cold Steel does a good job with 4116. I think it's used to make surgical blades. Yep, German surgical steel stuff. That's funny. Yeah, back in the day, 1980s, surgical steel. It's like, ooh, this is awesome. Chris S says, excuse me, I have a Fox Wilson combat folder with Cocobolo wood. Is sexy. That sounds nice. Got to have some wood handles in a knife collection. Couldn't agree with you more, sir. Couldn't agree with you more. Love it on folders. I know that's not for everyone, but I do love it on folders and even on just looking at small EDC fixed blades. Like this would be cool to have with a Cocobolo handle. It's a Gungan says Blackthorns are awesome and legal. I have the cold steel variant. Is that that walking stick? Huh. Hero Stick says, need a bag of money. Yeah, me too. But looking to get the Brian Brown Raptor exclusive from Knife Joy. The wee high fin when it drops. That's a cool looking one. I like the milling on the handle. And the Arcane Crawler is calling me. Just need a bag of money. Be careful with those bags of money. If you haven't seen the movie, there's a great movie called A Simple Plan. And holy crap, that is a good movie. And I think, it's Bill Paxton and Billy Bob Thornton and a third guy. I can't remember who the third guy is. And they find a bag of cash. And all that implies. It is really good. It's a great thriller. Theo Lord, good to have you here, Theo. Thoughts on any of the Tor fixed blades? I'm not the guy to ask. I have never experienced a Tor, though the Jank Shank looks cool to me for a self-defense knife. And what was the one that I thought was really cool? Well, it doesn't matter what I thought was really cool. The point is, Theo, I've never used any of them, but I've heard very good things. We've had people on this show talk a lot about the Tor fixed blades in particular. I've heard some numerous gripes, maybe is not the word, but some criticisms of their folders, but more criticisms like, yeah, they'll work this out, as soon as they put the clip in the right place and work on their lock geometry and some of that stuff. But on their way, whereas their fixed blades I've heard they're pretty sweet. Izzy Joseph, Izzy says, keep those Williams Winkler blades long as you want. I don't know, sir. You know how things happen. They get what do you call it? Assimilated. I'll get with you on the elk antler and another knife I want to send you. Ooh, okay. And this one you can keep. What? Okay. So Izzy, you'll have to tell me also, these look like they've been used. The blades don't look like they've been used, but the handles look like they've been handled quite a bit. And I'm curious if you used them at all. But man, they are fine. Hollywood Tactical says CRKT Ruger had numerous Veff serration knives, but they're mostly discontinued. Yes, they did. Actually, we gave one of them away. That all cylinders. Is that what it was called? Tom Veff. Thank you, Tom Veff, not Jeff Veff. Good. I'm glad his parents weren't cruel. All right, guys. I think that's about going to do it for me here. Razorback says 1.4116, also made under X50CR MOV 15. Holy crap. That's a moniker that blows the mind. X50CR MOV 15 pretty plain Jane, usually found in kitchen knives. Well, I think I have the 4.116. Oh, I know what it is. I have it on my Kudu, the cheap folder, the $12 folder. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you so much for joining the conversation and giving me stuff to talk about, giving us stuff to talk about. I love it. I love it. I love Thursdays. I cherish this time together. Again, before we go, I want to say thank you, veterans. Have a wonderful Veterans Day. Obviously, you've earned it. But let us, just so you know, we're all thinking about you. We all love you, and we're all grateful for what you've done. Coming up on Sunday, join us for episode 368 of the Knife Junkie podcast, when I speak with David Cam of Orion Knives. Have him back on the show. What a great guy. And man, I love his story and I love his knives. So catch up with us there. And then Wednesday for the midweek supplemental. So until next Thursday, or whenever else you join us, I want to say thanks for joining us and watching. And please, for Jim working his magic behind the switcher, he implores you, don't take dull for an answer.